Ambassador Mike Waltz here with the amazing Queen of Rap, Nicki Minaj, and I just can't be more thankful to you for putting your spotlight on the persecution, the killing, the devastation that's going on with Christians in Nigeria. The president called it out. Nicki, you've called it out, and then we invited you here to the UN to learn more and to see what we can do to stop this genocide.
All right, y'all. As y'all know, we're living in a day and age where we wake up every morning and we don't even know what to expect. But I must say that with that being said, the last thing that I expected to see today was Nicki Minaj at the UN serving as an ambassador to the US, giving a speech about religious persecutions taking place in Nigeria on behalf of President Trump.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other.
Okay, so after addressing the Barbs and the situation from the official podium, Nicki Minaj also went on to say this.
We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for, the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe. I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides.
After saying that this is not about taking sides, Nicki Minaj went on to say that this is about fighting injustice, which has been part of her platform for her entire career.
This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that for the rest of my life. I will care if anyone, anywhere, is being persecuted for their beliefs.
Look at Nicki Minaj swooping in like she's Olivia Pope from Scandal, trying to de-escalate and diffuse an entire global situation.
I am an evangelist, so that is exactly what I'm going to do, evangelize. And the way I see your situation, you have two choices. Number one, you can continue to walk around your life aimlessly, trying to find meaning through meaningless things, believing that you are free when truly you are just a slave to sin. And by the way, the wages of sin is death. Or two, you can understand that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died, rose again, and paid the price for your sins so that you could have eternal life. But the question is this: what do you want?
Now, after Nicki Minaj stepped up to that podium and gave that speech like she was Condoleezza Rice during the Bush administration, the representatives at the UN were nice enough to gift her with her own pink UN hoodie.
You now have a whole amazing UN Barbs. We're now your United Nation Barbs.
After delivering her speech to the UN, Nicki Minaj was also over there sounding like Biggie Smalls in the song Juicy, because she was like, "It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine." Because Nicki never thought that hip-hop would bring it this far.
Like I said before many times, I'm honored that you even thought that I would be worthy to be in this caliber of a place. Because, I never thought I would go from rapping to being here, but I'm so happy and proud, and I'm happy that I can speak for Christians, and I will continue to speak for anyone that I feel needs my voice if they are being persecuted. And right now, I'm just wanting to let all of my Nigerian barbs, even if they live in the US, I want to let you guys know I love you. And thank you for your stories that made me understand more what was going on. And I will continue lending my voice. I hope to see more of you guys lending your voices to it. Let's do the right thing like we've always done.
Okay, so after people all over the world saw Nicki Minaj getting her diplomacy on, a whole lot of people weighed in, and one person said, "This is the most insane year on earth." And then somebody else was like, "I'm sure her music represents good Christian values." And then last but not least, somebody else was like, "How much they pay Nicki for this?" Now, after Nicki Minaj got finished politicking, Willie D jumped online and he was like, "Okay, that's it. Nicki Minaj has officially lost her mind."
What's up, family? The year is 2025, and Nicki Minaj has officially gone MAGA. Yeah, fam, she lost her mind. Check it out.
Well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria.
I'm just going to interject really quickly, fam. One of the ways that the enemy is able to effectively state their case is to say some truths among the lies that they tell. Keep that in mind.
Alright, so Willie D isn't the only person who has an opinion about Nicki Minaj showing up at the UN, because Amanda Seales also has an opinion, and she believes that the government is actually using Nicki Minaj as a puppet to help them infiltrate Africa, especially Nigeria.
Nicki Minaj working with Trump admin on plight of Christians in Nigeria.
Either she's getting a check, or she was MAGA the whole time, or she's genuinely thinks that she's doing something good, which, by the way, is why y'all need to have people around you that know more than you. And by y'all, I don't just mean celebrities. Everybody. Everybody should have people around them that they can consult with, that think differently than you, that hold you in a place of values. Just so you understand what's happening here with the plight of Christians in Nigeria, there is a plight of Christians in Nigeria. However, the U.S., what does that have to do with the United States? The United States is using this as a ploy, as a proxy, to find their way into Nigeria so that they can then find their way into the Sahel states of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who, as you know, are coming together to begin a process of Pan-Africanism on the continent. They are taking back their resources from France. They are saying we are going to build our own infrastructures. This undermines the global empire's goal, and so they have to try and shut it down. Now, we saw earlier this year with AFRICOM and that coon, that general who tried to say, they got some problems going down in Burkina Faso. They're continuing to try to make this happen the same way that they're making fetch happen in Venezuela right now. When do we stop allowing ourselves to be used?
There you have it. Amanda Seales believes that Nicki Minaj is just being used as the Trojan horse for the Trump administration to gain access into Africa. And shortly after Amanda Seales shared her opinion on Nicki Minaj getting political, Tamika Mallory also weighed in.
So you guys know that
over the last few years, I've really tried to be intentional about what I say in public about black folks. I try to be really careful, but some things require a public statement. And as I've been watching this situation unfold with Nicki Minaj and Trump and Nigeria, I thought it was important for me to say a few things. There are consequences to aligning yourself with Donald Trump and his policies and his evil ways. There's consequences. What we know is that as he turns his attention to Nigeria, understanding his history, there will absolutely be exploitation, theft of resources. Somebody that he knows wants something from Nigeria. It could be a business partner, it could be a friend, it could be a said corporation, it could even be his family members. But they will invade Nigeria and exploit the people for their own benefit. And they will throw Nicki Minaj to the wolves because they could care less. They couldn't care less about that system. The unfortunate part about all of this is that there will forever be a stain associated with this moment that this sister will have to walk with. She will 100% see bloodshed because innocent Nigerians will be harmed and even likely killed as a result of whatever is to come. And she will have that on her hands.
Wow, Tamika Mallory's going strong because she says that because of what Nicki Minaj is doing at the UN, she's complicit to whatever happens over there in Nigeria. And if people get slaughtered, she too is going to have blood on her hands. Now, according to Lauren LaRosa over there at the Breakfast Club, people are 50-50 on whether or not they appreciate Nicki Minaj getting involved in international affairs.
So yesterday, Nicki Minaj addressed people who gathered for a special event in New York. This was a gathering of the United Nations for people who were having a conversation about the plight of Christians in Nigeria. Nicki Minaj has been vocal on X about this, which is what landed her in this speaking position with Ambassador Waltz, who's been doing some work in Nigeria, according to him, to make sure that people are able to practice the religion that they believe in. Yeah, so, I mean, there were people on both sides. There were people who felt like Nicki Minaj should not have at all. First of all, just even before she got here to the UN, just on X alone, should not have spoken out about this because it aligns her with Donald Trump, which isn't a good look for her. And because there are people that believe Donald Trump, you know, and him having conversations about Nigeria isn't an actual, like, he's not actually trying to solve this issue, that he's coming there because he wants to be able to exploit eventually and use resources and things of that nature in Nigeria by going there. So her bringing attention to this doesn't help because basically they're saying she doesn't know enough about what's happening to make herself the face of this. And of course, the minute she spoke out about it, Ambassador Waltz and a lot of other people on that side supported it and uplifted it and jumped on it and brought her in as kind of a speaker. And now here she is.
I seen a lot of Nigerians supporting her though.
Yes.
A lot of Nigerians.
Yes.
Saying thank you.
So there were people that were coming out.
Speaking up for them.
Exactly. And I think, so what I want to ask the room is, because there's people that are upset, but I also saw people that were having a conversation about, can two things be true? Because at the same time, it's bringing a lot of conversation around what's happening, regardless if people don't want Nicki Minaj to be aligned with Trump.
Okay, so like she just said, people are 50-50 on how they feel about Nicki Minaj going to the UN. So let's hear what some of the people have to say.
So today, Nicki Minaj spoke in front of the UN regarding the Christian persecution in Nigeria. Take a look at it right here.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
Okay, so one, who wrote this speech? Because the way you reading off that paper, you damn sure didn't practice your speech before. I mean, ain't even no teleprompter. You just literally, and today we need to, what is that? Two, It's very interesting that Nigerian persecution regarding to Christianity, which plenty over there have said is not an issue. This is definitely just probably a Trump made up mess. You're speaking on that. However, we have had so many issues in this country since January, and you have not said a word. And I truly believe that the only reason you're trying to speak with Trump now, because you could have been trying to speak on something, is because you knew that Cardi was with Kamala and you're jealous, and so it's a let me talk to somebody. But you choose to talk to the most divisive man out there, and you're a fucking immigrant and your family's immigrants. You're the people that he does not want here, but you're on his side talking about how great he is and worried about Nigerian persecution regarding Christianity when you aren't Nigerian. I doubt you're a Christian. So what are we talking about here? I can see if it was something going on in your country or even America, but you're talking about something that you have absolutely nothing to do with.
Everyone has an opinion. Here's mine. Today, rapper Nicki Minaj spoke at the UN Council. She was speaking today about the alleged genocide that is occurring in the country of Nigeria. For those of you who don't know, it is alleged that up to 70,000 Christians have been slaughtered in the northwest corridor of the country, which is currently being occupied by an Islamic extremist group. Look, my opinion is this. Shout out to Nicki. I'm so proud of you, sis, for taking a stance, for turning over a new leaf. If this leads to brand new opportunities for you, I wholeheartedly support this. This is a stark contrast from her behavior just a few weeks ago when she was into it with rapper Cardi B, and the muckraking, the name calling, and just the vitriol between those two ladies was absolutely reprehensible. Now, to see her take such a strong stance, even though she's supporting Donald Trump, you can argue that's a good thing, you can argue that's a bad thing. But what I won't argue is that having knowledge about politics is a good thing for all of us. In fact, I look at people when they don't know anything about politics, and it makes my heart weep because I don't think they fully understand the importance of your politics. Ladies and gentlemen, your vote literally can determine your life or your death. Ask the folks in Chicago right now who are seeing their home property taxes increase up to 98%. I'm just saying.
So illegal immigrant Nicki Minaj has just went and spoke to the UN about Nigeria. And yes, I can say that because that bitch is illegal, okay? She does not have citizenship here in America. First thing she did was thank her daddy.
I'd like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage and calling for urgent action.
Then she said people should not be attacked for practicing their religions. You mean how Christians are attacking every faith in America? Muslims can't even pray without being attacked by white Christian nationalists. Then she says a bunch of other issues. Okay, I'm gonna say this, no matter how much y'all feel like she has a reason to be there, she doesn't. Because the conflict is deeper than just Christians being attacked in Nigeria. There's people of the Islamic faith being attacked as well. And y'all like to ignore that shit because it's Nicki fucking Minaj. She needs a pardon, she needs a green card. No celebrity should be speaking at a fucking UN who is not qualified to be there. This is a fucking joke. I know the barbers are eating this shit up, but the only reason she doing this shit is so she doesn't get deported. And the way she's giving Trump that got 3,000, she may be the next Kim K, standing right next to him wearing a Make America Great Again hat and shitting on every black woman that supports her, every gay person that supports her. And if you're black and you're gay and you still supporting her, go have your head examined, because that girl don't give a shit about you.
Okay, so really quick, let me jump in and say this. The views expressed in all of these TikToks are a wide array and cross-section of the views that were expressed on social media about Nicki Minaj going to the UN, and they do not necessarily represent my views on the situation. Just had to jump in and say that. Alright, so let's continue.
No, I'm not upset with Nicki Minaj going and speaking on behalf of the president. This is on brand for Nicki Minaj. See, the issue isn't Nicki Minaj, the issue is y'all. Y'all like mental illness when it's funny. Alright? When Kanye West was wilding and doing all the crazy stuff at the beginning, y'all were like, that's just Kanye. It's the price of greatness. And then he was like, oh, by the way, since y'all are giving me the lane and the energy to do all this, I guess I'll go deeper. And then all of a sudden, whoa, we gotta pull back. Nicki Minaj has been on this pathway for years. She has beef with everybody that she has ever met. We're not gonna act like she was not in the studio gliding on icicles, talking like crazy stuff about Megan Thee Stallion during that beef. And then when we actually heard the song, we were like, yeah, maybe she's not doing well. And yet we were fine with it. And let's go even further back. Do y'all remember in the middle of the pandemic when she sent that whole tweet out about not getting vaccinated because her cousins, friends, brothers, uncles chestnuts swole up in Trinidad, and she's never met him, but for that, she's out. You feel me? Like, this has been on brand for her for years. So why are we acting like this? Y'all need to take the artist out of the situation and look at the mental illness of the person. If Azalea Banks got on TV and said, I support the president's policies because of this, that, and the other, we wouldn't be like, oh my God, not music's own Azalea Banks. We would have been like, oh, the lady who was cast on IG Live is out here talking stuff about the president. How on brand? So why aren't we doing that for Nicki?
Nicki Minaj spoke on behalf of the Nigerians, okay? For some reason, it's some Americans who feel like Nicki shouldn't have spoke. But if you heard the message was very graceful. It was her confirming that this is not about a check. It is not about politics. It is about me standing up for the rights of citizens. I think the problem is that it's not the message, it's the messenger. I feel like some people feel like Nicki shouldn't belong on that platform, that Nicki shouldn't have been speaking on the behalf of the Americans or on the behalf of the people of Nigeria. My problem is that why do y'all have a problem when a person that y'all redeem as not being educated enough or not being a representative or not carrying themselves in a certain way of acceptance is a problem when they speak on something? Why is that? Now we have Amanda Shields cutting up, and Amanda Shields is a very, very educated woman, very paused on information, and she's very knowledgeable. But what about the way that she carries herself? Because sometimes she could be very ignorant, and she could carry herself unladylike, and she could be unpleasant and distasteful. But who's gonna tell her that? Because I guarantee you, if Amanda Shields would have brought her behind up there, everybody would have been hooraying. And why don't Amanda Shields get invited to things like that? The way she carry herself. Okay, goodbye.
Y'all complain about celebrities not speaking up. Y'all complain when they do speak up. Like, there's no satisfying you guys. And then you pick and choose. And it's based off emotional reasons. Never logical. Never rational. All emotional. Based off of if you don't like the person or not. Nicki Minaj is speaking about the slaughtering that's going on of Christians in Nigeria. It's a problem. Then I see people saying they have a problem that, you know, she didn't speak out about, you know, the genocide with Palestine and Israel. But if she did speak out about that, it would still be a problem. And it's simply because you guys don't like her. And I'd rather y'all be honest about that versus trying to make it seem like it's anything other than that. Like, call it what it is. You do not like the messenger, regardless of the message, period.
I am so disappointed in Nicki Minaj for aligning herself with Donald Trump at the United Nations and pushing this so-called narrative about Christianity in Nigeria. Christianity has a long history of being used as a tool of control, colonization, and persuasion, especially against black people. So to see her participate in that feels off-brand, irresponsible, and extremely tone-deaf. And what makes it worse is the timing. The same day the Epstein files are set to be released, Nicki Minaj is suddenly being elevated as a political voice. That coincidence is not an accident. It's very much strategic. As a black woman, as an immigrant, as someone who had to acquire her own citizenship, she should understand why partnering with Donald Trump, a man who has disenfranchised black communities, harmed immigrants, and separated families, is not something to celebrate. If Trump truly cared about protecting black lives, he could start in Sudan or the Congo, where people are actively being killed. Not Nigeria, a nation working to secure its own independence without foreign interference. So this isn't just about optics. This is about legacy. Nicki's talent has always made her untouchable. But this moment might be the one thing that finally shifts how she's remembered. And the fact that it all happened on the very day the world was supposed to be paying attention to the Epstein files. That should tell you everything. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, so here's my take. I'm not one of those people who thinks that just because you're a rapper, an actor, or an athlete, you just need to shut up and hold the mic, read the script, or dribble a ball. So I believe that Nicki Minaj has the right to align herself with whoever she wants and speak out on any issues that she feels passionate about. However, I truly hope that as she's honing her political convictions, she's also actively educating herself on the micro and macro socio-political issues at hand, because the current events taking place at home and abroad are very complex situations, and unless you're very well versed on the political landscape of places like Nigeria, you have to be careful about interjecting yourself into foreign affairs, especially when the administration that you're aligning yourself with may have an alternative imperialistic agenda. With that being said, all Nicki really said was that persecution against Christians needs to stop, and I think that most of us can agree with that, because no group should incur violence based on their beliefs if their religious beliefs aren't causing violence to anybody else, whether that be in Nigeria or anywhere else. And Nicki simply shared her moral convictions, and her moral convictions are her moral convictions. But, like I said before, I hope that Nicki Minaj truly understands that global involvement in Nigeria is complicated, because powerful nations have long seen the country as a strategic prize, a pattern that goes all the way back to 1884-1885 during the Berlin Conference, when European empires carved up Africa without African input because they wanted to exploit Africa's resources. And today, instead of old school colonization and imperialism, the US, China, and European countries like France still compete through economic pressure, security partnerships, and political influence to gain access to Africa. And they're all doubly interested in Nigeria right about now, because Nigeria's huge population, massive oil reserves, and regional power make it a major target for this modern soft empire. Additionally, instability, banditry, and farmer-herder conflicts create openings for foreign militaries and governments to step in under the banner of fighting terrorism or protecting Christians, even though this modern-day crusade really isn't the real reason why a lot of these foreign countries want to enter into Africa. But like I said, my issue's not so much with Nicki, but I do, yet again, have another issue with the current administration of the United States, because once again, they've proven that they value celebrity more than they value experts. For example, when they needed someone to run the Department of Education, who did they call? The WWE's Linda McMahon. When they needed a head for the Defense Department, who did they call? Fox News host Pete Hegseth. And when they needed a Surgeon General, who did they hire? Dr. Oz. I mean, really, what are we doing? When a region of the world is on the brink of potential genocide, who was sitting over there like, yeah, you know what? We need to call in Nicki Minaj. That's like your house being on fire and somebody saying, hurry up quick, call the fire department. And you're like, no, call Nicki Minaj. Or you're over there having a heart attack and somebody says, call 911. And you're like, no, absolutely not. What I need right now is Nicki Minaj. Now, that's not to say that Nicki Minaj isn't an intelligent woman, because she absolutely is. But what I am saying is that somebody needs to tell the administration that when geopolitically we're dealing with a potential genocide, mass murkings, targeted religious violence, entire communities being wiped out, this is not the moment for celebrity optics. This is the moment for seasoned diplomats, human rights experts, and people who actually understand the complexity of the persecution of Christians taking place in Nigeria to be at the table, not influencers or rappers being used as political props. Additionally, when the U.S. administration brings in a celebrity to the UN, instead of career diplomats, Afro communications analysts, human rights lawyers, religious persecution specialists, and think tank researchers, it actually signals that the move is more about domestic political theater than actually understanding or resolving Nigeria's crisis. And while I'm more than sure that Nicki Minaj had very good intentions for going to speak at the UN, Nicki has to be very careful not to get caught up in that political web. Because if history has taught us one thing, it's this: anytime the US sets its sights on Africa, the agenda is usually tied to resources like oil, gold, and diamonds, and it's very complex.
How can we help foster the public-private partnerships, bringing American capital and expertise and standards to Africa, so that we can keep exploiting, so that we can exploring where we can get these minerals.
See, my man said exactly what he meant and then turned around and tried to clean it up. Listen, let me know what you think about Nicki Minaj going all the way to the UN to give a speech on the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.